All right, welcome back to Catching Up to Five. This is a snippet on what hacks you can have or special uses you can have of 529 plans. Jackie, what are you doing with your 529 plan?
Yeah, well, for this particular segment, we brought in our expert, Patricia Roberts. You and I have some bright ideas that we've been using and strategies that we put in place for 529 plans. So I'm going to go first. And what we want, Patricia, if you're willing, to rate us on these brilliant strategies that we think we have with 529s. We'll call them hacks. So for me, I did save in a 529 for my daughter. Yay. She was a little girl when I started. And she went to college. She's 30 years old now. I did not need all the money. So I said, what am I going to do with this money? And I have a lot of nieces and nephews, exactly 11. So I said, you know what? I want to somehow spread a little bit of this money to each of them to encourage them to go to college, because I was a first generation college graduate and I didn't want to be the last. So it started at about $25,000 that I had left over. I continued to have it invested, and I threw out a challenge to all of my nieces and nephews. I said, when you get to at least your third year of college, or at least 1 year before you graduate, if it's a trade school or something, I will give you $3,000 to finish up. I said, I know that's not going to pay for everything, but I took the amount that I had and I divided it up, looking at all my nieces and nephews, because I wanted them all to have the opportunity to get a few $1,000s from me, just to say, keep going. You're doing a great job. Go get that degree. So that's how I'm continuing to use my 529 plan. How would you rate me?
Are you establishing accounts for them? I think that's great that you're doing it. So I rate you very highly on the thoughtfulness and the intent of it, and probably the impact. Are you moving it from the original 529 to another account in those individuals' names?
Yes, I have to. So I have about 12 accounts set up at this point. But yes, I put it all in my name until one of them say, hey, Aunt Jackie, I'm close to graduating. I would like my 529 money. Then I have to set up an account for them, put it into that account, and then transfer the money to them afterwards. So it's a couple of jumps, but I do it all on my end pretty much, and they see the money and I explain to them why. So every time, yes, I have to just open up it, but I can do everything online underneath the same umbrella account in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, that's great. And these are related to the original beneficiary, which makes it a non-taxable event. You're doing it the way that sounds appropriate. And I think that you are informing them about the existence and usefulness of 529 plans in the process. And that's something they need to know for their future. So I give you a 10.
Yay! Bill, look, we need to have a little sign up, but yeah, I got a 10. So Bill beat that.
I don't think I can beat that, actually. I love that hack. And it's something you can roll money from 529 to 529, and that's cool. Jackie's all about figuring out creative ways to use money and investments. My hack is I never used it before. I've opened 529 accounts for my wife and for me as owners. We are currently the beneficiaries. We do expect windfalls, and we're going to front load these accounts to create educational engines for grandkids that aren't even born yet, and make them the beneficiaries when they have social security numbers. I do have one question in this regard. How do you use a 529 to avoid potentially burdening parents or kids with assets that are seen on their FAFSA?
Such a great question. You may or may not know that 529s are considered in the control of the account owner. I think we discussed that on an episode we just did together. So whoever the account owner is, we must start with that. It is considered an asset of theirs, not the student. So this is good news, because student assets are assessed at a much higher rate than a parental asset. If the parent is the account owner, the 529 is counted at a maximum of 5.64% of the account value. So if the value of the account is $10,000, only $564 is even thrown into the financial aid consideration. If it was an UGMA or UPMA account or trust account, or an account that the child controlled, the student, that's assessed at 20%, which is much higher. So regardless of the relationship with the child, having a 529 is better for financial aid purposes than probably any other form of investment. But I want to stress something else. If the account owner is not the custodial parent and it's a grandparent or it's an aunt or uncle or it's a godparent, those assets are not counted at all on the federal financial aid form. You're not reporting assets that you might not even know about from people that aren't in your household. So they're completely ignored. And this was codified, made absolutely certain about 2 years ago. And it used to be thought that if a grandparent owned it and they dispersed funds from it, it could somehow count against the child on a future financial aid application. It doesn't. There's no counting at all if the owner is not within that child's household. So really good consideration or characterization if it is the parent at that 5.64% maximum, and really terrific if it's owned by somebody who's not even in the household, because it's excluded completely for federal financial aid purposes. Now, could a state aid or the school itself, institutional aid, ask you some additional questions? Are you knowledgeable of others having accounts in your name? There could be the federal financial aid, there's no impact at all if it's outside of the family. It could be on some other forms of assistance that they're asking something more than that. But when we look at FAFSA, there's no reason in the world that people should be really substantially worried about the 529. It counts very little, and not at all in some cases. And the other thing I want to remind your listeners is that financial aid is often, first of all, uncertain. Who knows if it's going to even exist in the future? And secondarily, it's largely comprised of student loans. So this worry about missing out on financial aid is really quite unfounded, especially when we're talking about 529. It's favorably treated. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I wouldn't count on financial aid, quite honestly. You hope it'll still be there in the future, but being eligible for it and worrying about those equations, better to save. Take it in your own control. I love the question. So do I get to rate the question or what?
I had this statement in the question. My hack was creating generational financial wealth using windfalls and family, looking at education as a family sport, opening these accounts when your kids are young, and then utilizing them throughout your lifetime and lifetimes beyond.
Man, that's a 10 as well. Absolutely.
Take that, Jackie.
Hey, there we go. Hey, we're not too dumb around here. I guess we both came up with a cool one. And Patricia, it was only because of great resources like your book. Once we're able to dive in, you can get so creative in how you want to utilize some of these tools.
Absolutely. And I know it's a little nerdy to have written Route 529, but I'm telling you, it is a journey. And there is a lot to know, and it can be made understandable by somebody like me who's passionate about it, and people like you who really care as well about offering this information. So thank you so much. I know we have benefited your audience.
If you've heard this snippet on YouTube, we refer you back to a full podcast we did on this with Patricia that may have already dropped. But there's more information than we've made available today in this 8 to 10 minute clip. There's a lot more in an hour episode that summarizes most of what you need to know for basic 529 knowledge and education.
Yeah, we're going to drop all that in the show notes, but make sure you never miss a video. So make sure you subscribe to our channel, make sure you like, and we'll continue doing content like this to make you smarter and to make your money go further. So Patricia, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time on Catching Up to 5. So, Bill, as you know, we cannot do this show without our amazing staff and the people that help us put this on. Our editor is Fritz Brizard. We love them and they keep us going.
Yeah, Jackie, I mean, this show wouldn't have the quality it has without our folks, our peeps. And we'd also like to give you a few calls to action for the show. We love our community and we hope you love us back. If you would like to support the show and our mission to help late starters, you can do that at Buy Me a Coffee, which is a platform that allows you to make a donation. The link is in the show notes and on the website.
Check out the show notes for resources mentioned in today's show. Also, head on over to our website at catchinguptofy.com and check out our vetted resources, partners, and affiliates for discounts and their services, because we love sharing great deals.
Please share the show with others and head on over to our Facebook community to help us grow. If you prefer video, head on over to YouTube and watch the show there. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Catching Up to Fi. We would appreciate it if you could also leave us a 5-star review to help our message reach others.
And while we are financial educators that love to teach, remember that our content is for general education and information purposes only. We are not providing financial, legal, or tax advice. Always do your own research or consult a professional before making important decisions.
So, Jackie, we'll see our audience next time on Catching Up to Fi. Cheers.